everyone. In three, two, one, action.
Hey,
We have got a man. In fact, we have a man with us who has actually been with us for 3 years, haven't you, Hans? Is it that long?
Since end of 2020, so it's 3.5 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
is it really that long? Wow, that
Yeah.
is incredible. And what a man you are.
Thank you so much. It's been, yeah, I mean, it's flown by. And I remember when I first was called up to do this, I was really looking forward to it because it was something I've never done before. Obviously, it was Zoom. We were coming off of, COVID, or we were still in COVID times. So it was something really, new to me. And, I was very excited to do it. I got to meet all of you guys, and you were the most loveliest people I've ever met, working with. Ever. So I just wanted to say that, and it's always.
And then I came along and spoilt it all.
I know, and then obviously Natalie Caddy came on, and Natalie now is another person, working with. Obviously, such a pleasure working with you all guys, and I just always tell Lara and my family as well, like, about the Wonderbirds and how so lovely it is to work with you guys. You just you're always happy, always smiling. And the way, every time we start recording a show, we get guests, you're just so good at just, being there in the moment. You know what to ask. You have hardly any, rehearsing to do. You just go straight into it. You just really know you're really good at your jobs.
We'll send you the money. We'll send you the money later.
Yeah, I was say we'll pay you later. but when we curse and swear and say things which are completely inappropriate, you're there just to maybe edit it out. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I spot these. I've gotten used to just making sure, like, the whole show is. You're just so good all together. You know what to say. You know how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, Hass is the person, to our viewers, who puts the jigsaw together. That's all I can say it is, isn't it, girls? When the jigsaws of the shows, because sometimes there have been some hilarious moments, I'm sure, and there are so many times when, and I think probably the funniest things that happen are when people come on the show and they can't get onto Zoom, or they can't, and it's when Hass has to be the most patient person, don't you, Hass?
I'm not the best tech person in the world, so sometimes like, oh, okay, and then suddenly we just get it done. But yeah, sometimes it takes longer than usual. But
Hass, tell us about what others you've done so much in television, haven't you? So
yeah,
tell us a bit about that.
I mean, to be honest, ever since I was like a teenager, I really didn't know what I was going to do in my life. You're at high school, and I call it high school, but secondary school, and you just didn't really know what you're going to do in the future. And I was one of those people who didn't know what I was going to do. And I remember, I didn't really do well in school, and I tried A-level, didn't do well in that, but I did a BTEC, and it was in media, because I used to use the home camcorder for family videos and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, this is something I quite enjoyed and I quite like doing, and I did media studies, and then I did really well, and I really enjoyed it, and started to do editing. And I really saw myself as being, like, okay, this is definitely something I'd love to be doing in the future, which is, in media. And I'm telling you, I literally flopped my A-levels. I got U's in my AS levels. It was that bad. I just had no desire to, like, learn anything or anything like that. I just didn't really, didn't enjoy it. But media and a BTEC, and a lot of people don't realize, you can, you go to different avenues. If let's say academia isn't your thing, or, you can do BTEC. You can choose one subject that you're really interested in, go for it. And I excelled in that, and I got top grades, and I got, equivalent to AAA, all distinction.
Something you love, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I ended up being top in my class. I was like, wow, this is something I'm so passionate about. And, and there it was. And my teachers were very impressed with me as well. And I kept that going. And I was really sort of, like, passionate about what I was doing. And I think that's key. I think it's good. It's great to find what you love doing. And it's great to find.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's important.
As opposed to going traditionally, a route that have been told by people to do. So,
I think it says. I mean, that you've had that. I mean, with your son. I mean, he always didn't he always knew what he wanted to do.
He
Always.
always knew what he wanted to do, but also myself in the 1970s, I remember being told this wouldn't happen for me and that wouldn't happen for me and this wouldn't happen for me by teachers at school. And the more I was told I wouldn't have what I once wrote that I wanted to be an actress on one of these sort of forms, and I was told, oh, don't be stupid, think of something more sensible. And the more I was told, no, you can't do something like that, the more I wanted to do it. And I didn't even take my O levels. I wrote my name at the top of the paper. I left the exam hall and I went to matron's office and learnt the dying speech of Cleopatra because I wanted to go to drama school, so I could do it as a drama piece. But I took art and I took English because those were the two subjects I love, and that was it. That's all I took. But the similar thing happened to my son. He got a scholarship to a college, a fabulous scholarship, and I just gave him the choice. I said, you can either take this and not take your GCSEs, or we'll stick out the GCSEs. And so obviously he chose the dance college, and he never ever looked back. So he didn't take his O levels, GCSEs or whatever, because I knew that he having studied up to that, he could have gone back and taken them a little bit later. But suddenly he was doing something he loved, and he's never been out of work since.
Isn't it funny? I think about education. I mean, I've got a real thing about the way, you know, we educate in this country, and that is, and I'm sure we've all had it. You know, the stuff that I was really good at school, like drama and music, they said, oh, now you've got to do chemistry and maths, because I was good at drama and music. So now you've got to do, well, what on earth for? And of course, as you said, Has, you know, you, as far as you were concerned at school, it didn't interest you. It didn't, you know, light your fire. You've got to, with kids, you've got to make them passionate about what we're doing and not push them in a direction they don't want to go, because that's not what happens in life. And I wonder why we do that.
But that school talk, you know, when you're in the playground with other mums or whatever, and it's a sort of competitive thing. It's not really, it's just that you feel like you have to do certain things because everybody else is, but maybe you don't have to. Maybe being different and not doing conventional things is okay for a lot of people. I mean, you hear so many people like Richard Branson, all these people who are dyslexic, who've ended up doing things.
They thought that was not being very bright, and then they've discovered that it's nothing to do with it. I think education too. I think what Has said, you know, if you really love something, some people adore maths. I mean, Sid, my daughter, loved maths, so she got. And I just couldn't understand that. I think it was actually because she went out with a boy who was very good at maths. So
there you go.
So she got an A or a B in her GCSE in maths. So, which, you know, and she still loves it. I mean, it's really weird, isn't it? But you know, I think, as you say, there's still this stigma about the creative arts, and yet the creative arts make more money than a lot of other industries in this country.
There's a kind of hierarchy at school, isn't it? Kind of at school, it'll be maths and science will be the top, and then you'll have your history, your geography, or whatever. And the things that go down the pecking order, that the arts are right at the bottom. I just wonder if every day they got everybody into the hall. And do you remember the other day, Debbie, we were all in the hall, in the corridor of the theatre, because Debbie and I are working on Calendar Girls together, and all of the actors came out into the corridor. We put the loudspeaker on, and we all sang a Frankie Valli number together, and we got such energy out of that. Now, can you imagine if we started school every morning with a massive sing-song or a massive dance or something like that? Just get everybody in a really great frame of mind, and then you start work. I wonder what would happen.
You're right. Now, music is a big one. Music is like, I
think it's taken off the curriculum, hasn't it? I mean, one of them is drama. I think drama is as well.
That's crazy.
It is, and also if you read books like Emotional Intelligence, where I don't know if you guys have ever read it, but it's so fascinating, saying that, you know, some of the children that they sort of looked at, some of the case studies in this book, one of the kids didn't speak. Little girl didn't speak. They all said, you know, she's, well, there's something very wrong with her. She didn't speak. But the fact is that when somebody spoke to her when she was about 5, had never spoken before, and asked her a question, they realized that she was an observationalist. What she did was she watched people. So she didn't speak because she didn't have anything to say, like, what did you do at school today? Because all she would do was watch people. And she knew which child was friendly with that child. She knew everything that people did, all the subjects. She just liked watching people. And so it wasn't that she didn't speak, it was that she didn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And so many things like that.
If you were talking to your younger self now, the boy who was at secondary school, who was a little bit lost, didn't quite know what to do, what advice would you give to somebody like you?
Do your best. If you can't do great in certain subjects, there's other avenues. There's apprenticeships. There's BTEC. There's so many different avenues for you to go through. Even if you go to uni, it's not the end of the world. If you can afford it, if you can't, if it's gonna, it shouldn't really be much of an issue. Just do what you're.
Yeah, I think when we were younger, Hans, you see, the only people that went to uni were people that were going to be doctors or vets or something like that. I mean, it wasn't pushed for, not for like normal people that left school with your O levels and A levels. You weren't pushed to go to uni because you would start work. You'd do your O levels and A levels, and then you go straight to work. You'd find jobs to do. But now with all this pushing to university, and people are doing degrees in things that they would have a job doing before, like a state agency, you go and work there. Now you have a degree to be an estate agent because you're at university for 3 years.
Yeah, my mother used to say, because my mother got into London School of Economics because she was incredibly bright from a very, working class background. And at the time she got in, there were hardly any people from that sort of or nobody from her background. But she used to say, she used to get really annoyed about university now, because she used to say it was only the top 5% of the country who would go to university, with the brains of the country, And of course now you can look at it the other way around. Everyone's got the opportunity to go and to study. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing. It depends how you look at it.
People don't go to university to study. They go to university to have a party.
Yeah.
They do.
They do,
That's the whole thing. I mean, my girls didn't go. They both went to work when they were 18. Talia went off with JLS touring and to America to record. And Kira was off into Hollyoaks. And the pair of them have been working since they were that age. And I said to Kira,
think of all the things you could do at university. You can be wheeled up and down in wheelie bins down the street. You can wear those cone things in the middle of the road on your head and stuff like that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's what they said they missed.
Dunked in a pond.
And puke for hours and hours at 4 a.m. and
not go to classes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely recommend going to university. I think it gives you opportunities that you might not. I mean, you can get opportunities anywhere, but I think going to a faculty that has links with other, the industry. I think it's quite. I mean, me personally, when I was at uni, we had opportunities at our uni to do work experience at ITV News and Channel 4 News and things like that. That if I hadn't been there, I wouldn't have had that opportunity and things like that.
Where did you go, Cass? Which?
University of Westminster. So, their media, facilities were really good. They had links with, like a lot of, broadcasters. And I think that.
But that's amazing. You see, you went for a proper degree and stuff like that, and you knew where you were headed.
A lot of people, I mean, even till now, they make fun of it and they think it's a Mickey Mouse subject. Obviously, it was early on, especially social media and the internet. I think people are now starting to understand, no, this is a very, big topic, big subject to take on. And, like you can get a lot of jobs out of it. So I think back then when I was first, doing media, there was, some people will think, oh, what is media? What's so important about that? And I think back then people didn't really realize how important media is, and I think, well, if they did, they didn't take it seriously as an educational subject.
I remember being really quite upset on my daughter's behalf because I can't remember what college we went to together. And one of the lecturers, because you go around and you have little interviews with everybody. And he said something like, he said, "Oh, I suppose you want to do English and media." And he said it like that to her. And she looked really quite sort of shocked. And I was shocked because I thought, he's just taken the mickey out of the thing that she would like to do.
Yeah.
"Oh, I suppose you want to do English and media, do you?" As if everybody was coming along saying that to him. I thought, how flipping dare you do that to somebody? That's not on.
I mean, it was great. The headmaster at Epsom College, when Kira got Hollyoaks, because she'd just taken her A levels, and she literally could have gone to uni, or she could go into Hollyoaks. And we said, "Well, what do you think we should do?" Because we had to make a decision whether we said that, whether she could go into the show or not. Because it started filming, she got the job. She was taking her A levels when she got the job. And it started like the week after she left school. And he said, 100% take the job. You can always go to university.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she hasn't looked back. And look at her artistry. I mean, look how she paints so beautifully.
Yeah, but she hasn't stopped working since then.
Yeah. I know, voiceovers, all sorts of stuff.
But also, she's the only one of the people in her class, the very first one, who bought their own house. And that's because the headmaster was so brilliant and gave us such a good perspective, saying, education is something you can, if you want to. And that's when I think university is a good idea. If when you're like, she can now go back to university.
Well, that's it. That was the same with Harry. I mean, Harry was offered his first job age 16, and there was no contest. Go and do it. It was a UK 50th anniversary tour of West Side Story, a year on tour. But he could always go back if he wanted to, any point, to do more studying. So you've got to take those opportunities in life, because you never know where it's going to lead you.
Absolutely right. Oh, my goodness. So, Kaz, I think you should actually talk more to young people about this, because it's really important, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people have just, a very, one-dimensional way of looking about, education. But there's so many different ways. And I just wanted to obviously say, the arts, as you were all mentioning, is something that, we don't realize it. Entertainment is growing, and it's such a big thing, part of our lives, whether it's media, whether it's acting, whether it's music, and I think it doesn't have that, if you like, priority in schools. And
no, I think the same as, if you like, bricklayer, building. Yeah. These things will always need to be done. Yeah. And the people that have the money nowadays are the people that did that, not the people who go to uni, who have this fantastic education and end up working in the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Unless they've got a vocation, as you said, now, being a doctor or lawyer or whatever.
But House was talking about, not knowing and then discovering his passion, which was, finding something, you go, yes, this is it. Yeah. And I think your message to younger people of just saying, look, just don't worry, do the subjects, do the work, put in the time, and it will come eventually, won't it?
My message would just be, just don't worry about the finances. You can get along. If you can't, let's say, buy your own property, which maybe, people older than you have, that's just the way it is. That's how people are now. They're just renting. Just, don't think about what other people have been doing. Just think about what you're doing. That's basically my advice. And
have faith, I think, too. Yeah. Have faith that it, that the right thing, if you're doing the right thing, that you love, that everything else will fall into place. I think that's the way forward. I was going to say, I met about 3 years ago, I met at Pinewood, a makeup artist who had been to university to be a lawyer, but her passion was makeup. And she said she had the most terrible time from not her family actually, but from friends, from people that she met, saying, how could you do that? How could you go from, being a lawyer to a makeup artist? I mean, it's such a, trivial profession. But she said, I don't care. That's what I love doing. And I think that says it all, really.
Yeah.
Mm. And I just wanted to plug in, the Calendar Girls show that I saw on Saturday with my wife.
Oh,
Debbie,
Yes.
that's were amazing. So just wanted to say, you guys are amazing. That every day you're there doing, that show. It takes a lot of, talent and hard work. So well done.
It
Oh,
does.
Cass, it was
They-
lovely having
Yeah.
you there the other day, and
Yeah.
it was the perfect day, and the sun was shining, and it was
Yeah.
lovely. But the Calendar Girls is such we love it, don't we, Debbie? It's just
Yeah.
it's so full of
Joy.
sadness, laughter, and hope and joy.
Yes.
Yes,
I-
and boobs.
And,
Yeah.
and I would have seen it on. I'm coming again on Friday. So that's
Are you?
my third.
Are you coming with Jim Field on Friday?
Yes.
And
Oh.
yes, and John Colshaw is coming on Friday.
Oh, good. That's lovely. We can have dinner together then. You know what? I love that place. And you two were so brilliant in it. And the whole cast are lovely, aren't they?
Yeah, thank you. And my baby.
And your
Yeah.
babe.
Yeah, wonderful.
Oh,
I was
she's
going to say
fabulous.
we could have a
Well, yeah.
trivial pursuit question. Which play did Debbie Arnold breastfeed a member of the cast?
What?
And that's not in the show, but I breastfed my daughter, didn't I? So I breastfed her. So we were in the same
Yes.
show.
Oh,
How on earth my brain thought of that was very strange.
yeah, that was very strange.
I
Wow.
was thinking, hang on a second, is this some sort of a quirky movie that you did?
She did breastfead Kira, but just a few years ago,
Yeah, exactly.
But and then
Exactly.
I was going to say Dee as well. Doing the show, she's always, I always see her, like making sure the shows are all done, with the Wonderbirds and working
Oh.
hard as well. And honestly, with everything that you're doing as well in the background and everything else that's going on, you're always
Oh.
constantly, making sure that this show is getting done. And that's something that I admire as well.
Oh,
thank
I just feel so
God.
lucky to be part of the
Yeah.
team and to have been
Yeah.
invited on board. I
Thank
really
you. You're so brilliant. I mean, this is a mutual admiration show as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, and
And
also
we haven't got Hass in our ear at the moment saying it's time to
No.
stop. Is it time to
Yeah.
stop? Yeah.
It's
wrap up,
time
wrap
now.
and also Has, you come to every show that I do as well, my singing shows. You come to everything, and and I really appreciate that. We all do, don't we? We love him.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. Want to see more of your jazz shows as well.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
I can't really announce what's happening, but there is going to be quite a big tour coming up.
Oh, nice.
Will you be allowed to talk about it?
Well, I can talk to you about it after the show, but I'm not sure. Maybe
Not here right
Right.
now.
Nat and Has, look at Debbie. Doesn't it look like she's got sort of either angel wings or unicorn horns?
Yeah. Yes, the lights. Yeah.
That's the right bit.
The Northern Lights behind
You
Debbie.
mean, you don't mean unicorn horns, you mean devil horns, do you?
I didn't like to say.
Little
Because
bunny
we-
rabbit ears. Don't you look like a bunny girl?
Oh,
Oh, yes, the bunny
where are
girl.
my angel wings then?
No, I think
Well,
they've
I
ended up on your
probably
head, sweetie.
Not it back, but no, definitely a bunny girl.
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you.
Has.
Lovely,
Oh,
lovely.
lovely to
Lovely,
see you,
lovely.
Hass.
Yeah, lovely coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you so much
See
for
you
having
next
me.
week.
Thank
See you
you.
all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.